I'm Barb Blair with Knack Studios, and we're gonna talk about how to design a really intentional piece of furniture. I think a lot of times people get in a hurry when they wanna paint a piece of furniture and they try to get everything done all in one day. And that's fine to an extent, but I really think we should take the time to design well and design something that you're gonna wanna live with for a really long time. So when I design furniture, I kind of start to gather things that inspire me. There's always a formula, typically for me, that involves food, travel, fashion, typography, whatever it might be, and I'm always a huge quote fan, so I usually include a quote somewhere too. I kind of just start to pull together things that really inspire me, and I start to see a pattern develop. And you may wonder how or what all of this has to do with this gray piece of furniture, and why did I decide to paint this gray with all of this coloring. But the look that I kind of pulled together in my head for this piece came from actually looking at this rug, this wolf, this plaid. So as you'll see when we get to styling the piece of furniture, you'll see where all of this kind of comes together in the styling. But to be able to ground all of this color, I chose a really neutral base. That will just let all of the details show, like the knobs that we're gonna use and the paper that we're gonna use to line the drawers. So the knob I chose for this piece of furniture is a steer skull. This piece of furniture is definitely a vintage piece of furniture, and it has feminine lines to it. And I always like to balance out the feminineness of a piece of furniture with a little bit of modern. So that's why I'm gonna come in with like this modern skull to kind of counteract the feminine lines that kind of go around the bottom of this piece of furniture. It's my favorite kind of juxtaposition to do, is to just go the complete opposite way. Just really take your time and have fun with the design. This is about you being a designer. This is about you taking the time to really come up with a piece that you're gonna live with for a really long time, because you were really intentional about the design that you put in place. One of the things that I like to do for myself is to sketch out the entire piece of furniture before I start on it. This isn't a super necessary step, but I find it really, really helpful, because it makes you sit down, actually sketch out the entire piece, kind of come up with your color palette, and it's just another step in the inspiration process to kind of guide you through your finished look. So I'm gonna show you how I loosely sketch a piece of furniture and kind of pull a color palette together to create the final design plan. You really don't need a lot of fancy tools to do sketching. I am not a trained artist, so don't judge my sketches. This is simply just for you and for your design process. So I'm just gonna use colored pencils, a ruler, graph paper, and a pencil that has an eraser, because I'm definitely gonna have to erase some lines. I don't always get it right the first time, but don't be intimidated by this process. Just sketch it out however you wanna sketch it. Sometimes I like to make notes on my paper too, like what kind of knobs I'm using, what kind of paper I'm using. So I'll write on here the paper that I'm using to line the drawers, what knob, just to kind of keep track of what your design plan is. And then I'll just like loosely color everything in. And I love to just like create like a color palette on the side, kind of based loosely on what we just showed you on the wall, of all these different colors that kind of go together. Plus it makes your paper really pretty. It's like doodling. I always like to throw in like one pop of some random color. And if you want to get fancy, you can sign your sketch. So I've just finished my sketch of the piece, and again, it's really, really simple, but it's just a visual for me, and I'm gonna add it to our collection of inspiration over here. And it kind of just finishes out our entire inspiration board there. So those are the basic steps on how to design a piece of furniture and be really intentional about that design. Just make sure that you pull together colors, ideas, whatever really inspires you. Use that to guide you in pulling together all the pieces you need for a beautiful piece of furniture that you're gonna love and live with for a really long time. If you haven't already watched our other videos on painting and styling, go ahead and check those out.